of course, benefits so much from people stacking up, same as Witch Doctor. So this is going to be very tough for Wish to stack. And there we go. Best hero in the game picked. Easy.
Well, Witch Doctor. Yeah, I agree, Wagger.
Yes, totally Witch Doctor.
I love that hero, dude.
I think TA's had like a really high win rate.
Yeah, she's 10 and 6, I believe.
I really like this combination. We talked about the Lion, and now with the TA, that gives you, we talk about the Bristle Wisp primarily. That's going to be your core going into that mid to late game. But in Lion and TA, you've got 2 more heroes that can just relocate and blow somebody up.
Yeah, we saw that in I can't remember which game it was. The TA just crit down the entire enemy team. It was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, RTZ had a very, very nice TA game. And another team that has played it extremely well is CDEC with Shiki, who has performed really well on that hero as well. So some teams to look out for, but going to be interesting to see MVP run it here as well.
Empire really likes damage right now. They have good control, I think, with Witch Doctor and Winter Wyvern, but no way to kill a Bristleback, no way to knock refraction charges off the Templar Assassin easily, I guess, aside from Winter's Curse. And yeah, I don't really know how they're going to get past this Bristleback front line at the moment.
I mean, they did pick 2 supports already, though. They're going to add a carry and an offlaner, so you can always look for that to stack in some damage. I would still be happy to see the Timbersaw that we mentioned in this game, because there's only Lion for disables. The rest of them really can't deal with a Timbersaw.
And it's most likely going to be a dual lane in the safe lane because of the Wisp.
Yeah.
Could you just get something for Empires, just any hero that builds a Silver Edge that kind of fits, trying to get rid of that passive of Bristleback? Would that be a reasonable counter here or not?
Yeah, it is a very good thing to have the Silver Edge. It just takes quite a while before you can farm it. But if you can get that, that makes Queen of Pain's job a lot easier, as she can just go in.
Okay.
And, okay, maybe not through the Razor, but still a very good counter, as you can steal the damage, and of course your ulti is super good.
Yeah, I mean, more than likely, the silent safe lane hero here on the Razor, probably looking for that matchup, as you said, through the Bristleback. I mean, that's just one, Bristleback's a hero that needs to be in a fight, need to be in the mix over time. And of course, if he gets that link on him, it forces him to either back or really try to fight with very reduced damage output.
So at the end of this fight, it could just be Razor and Bristleback toe to toe. Everybody else is dead.
It definitely could be. And likewise, Razor is also a pretty good hero to steal damage from Templar Assassins. So they have started to build in some damage into their lineup, Merlini. But do you think what do you think they lack as a last pick here for Yoku?
I still think they lack a little bit of damage. Razor is generally built as a super frontline tank with Max Shivas and AC for plus 40 armor, and I think that's really good versus MVP Phoenix's lineup because they don't actually have that much magic damage right now. So I think he is really good to draw attention away from his other teammates and to keep the Bristleback at bay. I like the pick. But yeah, I think they like damage.
Yeah. Well, they still have one more hero to ban out as well before that. MVP Phoenix looking pretty complete in their setup right now.
Do you have enough control here, I'm wondering, to put Yoki on the Queen of Pain off lane and draft a primary damage dealer mid?
It is a possibility. I always like to see when Resolution plays the Queen of Pain himself, but they could always go into that option. Oh, Brute was still available. That is curious that I didn't notice she actually was all the way in the 5th ban. Huh. Could have been a great pick, actually, for MVP during the second phase. But yeah, sorry, to go back to your question, I think that would make it for a little bit safer lanes, but having Razor, they could also just dominate 2 lanes with that.
Wow, that damage, though.
Yeah. I mean, there's just the burst damage output. Literally, obviously the Bristle Wisp we talked about, but these are 3 heroes that can just relocate and instantly blow somebody up.
Yeah, and the Cold Embrace is not going to save you that much anymore. Sure, it saves you from TA and Bristleback to a point, but now Lion and Lina in the mix, they will happily take your, hold position spell so that Lina can just nuke.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that it's actually been the most common Queen of Pain player for Empire has actually been Silent recently. They've mostly run it safe lane.
Yeah, safe lane Queen has been very popular during all of TI5, actually. During the group stage, it was popularized.
So is this Lina safe lane, or is it going to be Lina off?
This is kind of what I expected to happen. That you needed a damage dealer mid, a mobility hero, and I think Storm fits the bill rather nicely.
Yeah. This is going to be curious. I think the lanes are really important, and both teams are going to mind game each other here. So I think the early scouting is super important. We'll see what they can do.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. Yes, mind games galore. Let's see how it all shakes out in our first game. In the lower bracket with Odie Pixel and Synderen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first best of 3 here in the lower bracket. Team Empire up against the side of MVP Phoenix in a best of 3, and it's going to be quite a best of 3 as well. Phoenix, they've proven a lot over the games that we've seen them recently in TI. And Empire, of course, a massive name with a massive following.
Yeah, I do agree. I think the general consensus among the panel was that Empire go in as favorites. They had a pretty good series against LGD yesterday where they actually had a shot at winning that series, let's be honest. They could have won the first game, and they actually did win the second game. So LGD looking like one of the strongest teams in the tournament right now. But MVP, like you said, they did overcome Newbie yesterday, and they're in high spirits, which should not be underestimated. If you're feeling good about your team, if you're feeling confident, that can always give you that little bit of extra boost that you need to go in and win a match as underdogs. So I'm just happy to see IO Bristle.
Absolutely.
I agree 100%. I feel like this combo just doesn't get picked enough. Teams started figuring it out a little bit more and counterplaying it more, but MVP has had good success with this. It's the reason they're here, actually. I feel like as far as the wild card went, the IO Bristleback saved them. I think 2 games in a row. At least once did they win an absolute key match with this, to my memory. So they're good at this.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
one of March's best.
The thing is, though, we've got to remember they were talking a bit about the fact that Empire, they've picked a lot of things that are very good against the others. So they've got the Witch Doctor, they've got the Wyvern, and of course they've got the Razor, which is very nice against a Bristle who likes to stick around in the front of the fights and run around. That's going to be an easy damage steal with the static link for Razor, essentially.
And in addition to that, they last picked the Storm, who is one of the best heroes against IO. You can always find the IO. Storm can, most of the time, simply just solo IO if there's no direct counterplay out of the stuns of MVP. And the only real counter they have that's reliable is Lion. So Nuts has to play a really good game here for Resolution to not take off and just roll them over.
Well, we're going to see both teams respectively grabbing themselves the rune. IO should have the straight up gold, yeah, thanks to that, to the bottle. So we're going to have the bottle, of course, straight out for IO. So it's going to be a very nice start for Febby. And it's going to be interesting to see where Febby kind of hangs around at the beginning. Are you imagining we're going to see him just helping out Kyo in the mid lane before going up to join forces with the Bristle? Or where does Febby kind of position himself in the early game?
I think he might have to go top immediately to get something out of this off lane for the Bristle. If Bristle falls behind, no, maybe not. At least for now, they're going to hang around mid. I guess this is the idea for Empire by moving in Aloha Dance here, is to force the IO to stay. This is not what MVP want to happen because they need a top. March is actually already in a lot of trouble here. Just look at Silent laying into him. He's almost going to bring him down here. He will survive.
Oh, one more last hit onto him and would have brought him down. Yeah, indeed, March going to be able to salve himself back up. But as you said, this is not going to be the nicest lane here for the Bristleback. Mid lane, TA is going to be given that head start by Febby here with the bottle, trying to help him out CS Resolution here on the Storm. But at the same time, Resolution's got the backup there of that Wyvern. And then kind of left is this bottom lane where you're running this safe lane Lina, who's of course being played by KP, and trying to farm up against Yoku on the Quap, which essentially is another lane that I kind of feel is going to be quite hard for MVP to play against.
Yeah. No matter how well they play this bottom lane, they probably can't keep Yoku entirely away. And for him to go in and get an early level 6 has huge implications on the IO's ability to be a hero in this game. Queen of Pain is a hero we didn't even mention, is also very good against the IO. So Empire has put a lot of emphasis, like you said, onto counterpicking that element of MVP's draft. And all in all, just looking over the picks, I feel like what Empire has done really well is they've countered the physical parts of MVP's draft very well. The Bristle and TA are going to have a very hard time against the Winter's Curse as well as the Cold Embrace. Then again, they have a core Lina to try to compensate for that. Getting a lot of farm on Lina is exceptionally good against White.
Mid lane at the moment, QO 11 for 6 against the 6 for 0 of Resolution. QO having an absolute great time here on the TA, really shutting down the Storm Spirit. Top lane, they're chasing down March and Silent. He's got a very, very good static link off here. 70 damage, 84 damage dollars. Febby could be in trouble. If he gets in range and Silent's right clicks and well alone, that's with the slow. They'll be able to find themselves first blood, and now they're going to look for more. The damage from Silent is just too much, and it's going to be a second kill there up at the top of the river here for the side of Empire. What a start there for the Dire.
Yeah, Febby had good intentions, but essentially just ended up getting himself killed in addition to March. I think if he doesn't tether, they'll lose March, and he wanted to try to bail out his buddy and, you know, the help a friend syndrome that gets you both killed. We see that from time to time in Dota. Teams have gotten a lot better at it than they were some years ago. Back then it was very common to try to help a teammate who was in like ridiculous trouble and just get killed yourself. But It's a thing.
Bottom lane, Yoku just trading hits there with Nuts, backs himself off. Has to be careful now, of course. Nuts, he's hit level 2, so he's got both the Spike and the Hex here. Combo with KP spells, they'll be able to do a good job at trying to burst down that Queen of Pain. Back towards the middle, low odds coming to help out Resolution, and Resolution really does need help. I mean, 20 to 11 against 11 for 0. I mean, the Storm, he's got quite a way to catch up with TA.
It's the only lane Empire really needs help though, so they could easily even rotate both their supports in here to try and even get a kill on him if they felt like it was a possibility for Always Wanna Fly as well as Low Dance to do that, but instead they're going to focus on top. March again being drained.
Again, 70, 84 damage here. They're not going to dive far enough, but it's such a tough lane here for March. He still manages to find a fair bit of XP, has hit level 3.
1 CS.
But yeah, the CS is certainly not there for the Bristol. Being healed up here by Febby with his ball.
It's still distracting Silent decently, I guess you could say. Silent only sitting on 14 CS in the safe lane to the 20 of Lina because they spend a lot of time diving for these attempts at kills, and, well, it's been 2 successful kills as well. So at least they've accomplished that here. And QO is doing great. So, as Nahas pointed out, QO is a very explosive player, and he's got incredibly good stats from his competitive games. One thing to keep in mind about those stats, though, is, of course, how many of the games have been against extremely top-tier caliber teams, right? A lot of QO's games, of course, back from South Korea with a less competitive scene, so can skew the stats quite a bit there. I believe some of the stats from there. That would...
Yeah, I mean...
I think so.
But I mean, the thing, of course, about...
It's impressive no matter what.
They've come to an international stage of proving that they can perform on an international level.
Absolutely.
And standing up very nicely to some of the big teams. And, of course, yesterday, as we saw, knocking out the defending champions. Definitely a team to watch. Mid lane, Lower Dart still trying to create some space here for Resolution, hanging back there in case QO goes too aggressive onto the Storm's bit. Still yet trying level 6 in the side plates, he's got to be careful here. Storm taking a heavy bit of damage. Top lane, Bristle hopes to find himself a little bit more of the XP, getting himself up to level 4, but Always Wanna Fly here on the Witch Doctor. The pull through to the side. Mid lane as well, a little bit of a wrap around here from Mark Febby, maybe see if he can tether up to look for something. They've got the slow here with the trap.
Oh,
They're going to try and dive for this. They've got to be careful though, because the low odds of Resolution are ready to try and turn around QO. He's got this double damage rune, he has got refraction in a second, he's going to go back in with it. There's your refraction, moving back in with the boosted damage, trying to see if he can find anything, but he can't quite. Gets the slow onto Resolution, but not quite able to dive deep enough for these two. But still putting a heavy amount of... Oh, look at these. Oh! Maybe seeing if he could get a cheeky side play there, but it's not going to happen.
Lower Dance played that exceptionally well on the Winter Wyvern. It looked like Resolution was in a lot of trouble with the slows, the double splinter blast he got out, and I think he also used the Arctic Burn in that situation. Very well done to keep his buddy safe. Now he needs to be careful.
Right, look at this red run for Nuts. He is hanging around on incredibly low health, gets hexed up. QO comes in with a finishing blow. Now the TP from the Witch Doctor. Is this going to work out for the side? They did find the Lion here in return, so it's a 1-for-1. QO is going to be able to get himself out. But obviously favouring the side of MP, the fact that they get a kill under the belt of TA.
And he gets a very key item here. These phase boots are going to help him a lot. The last attempt they had on Resolution would have been successful if he had the phase. Now, of course, Resolution is going to hit level 6, but it's still just a way for him to force Resolution to use mana, to chase down other kills, and in general have more of a presence in fights.
And they're putting so much pressure on the mid lane Empire with 3 heroes hanging around. They realise that QO is going to become a big issue. Know that something needs to be done about it. 39 for 18 at the moment. 1 kill under his belt. The TA is going to definitely spiral out of control unless Empire can put a stop to it anytime soon.
And there's just something annoying about playing lane against TA, you know? It's a very different kind of lane matchup because you need to be constantly aware of your like micro